beauty is in the eye on your face. Yeah. Hi, my name is Kat, or Cat Attack. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Purrrrfect palette tag. I decided that I'm gonna try to do some YouTube videos, even though I haven't got everything set up the way I'd probably like. And you might hear my boyfriend holler if he wins his game in the other room, or the dog bark, or the dogs bark upstairs. So I'm hoping this isn't a disaster, because it may be the biggest disaster. Number 1, the best packaging. For best packaging, I went with a Vice 2 palette. I'm sure you've seen it reviewed a million times, and I just really like the way the colors are all set up. But for the packaging, their packaging is always pretty, and it's always worth the money just for the packaging. I think every Urban Decay palette I have just has beautiful packaging. The Anarchy face case is really pretty. The Shattered face case is really pretty. I only have Naked 2 and 3, but I love those palettes. They're really, really pretty. They were just designed well. Whoever's designing them is doing a good job. Number 2, best color payoff. For me, that would have to definitely be Sugarpill. Poison Plum is probably my absolute favorite, and for the longest time I had so much trouble finding a good red, and their red is amazing. Sadly, I think that was the last palette I got because it was the hardest to get a hold of. The others were almost always available, and I believe the Heartbreaker palette is the first one I got, and then the Sweetheart, and then the Burning Heart. But their colors are just phenomenal. Most versatile, I would have to give to Urban Decay's Anarchy's face case or Shattered, but I'm gonna go with the Anarchy for now. Just because it has so much that you can do with it. But what amazed me the most was that it has a highlighter. I have trouble finding highlighters that I like, and I like their highlighters. And their blushes are a little extreme for me, but with a light touch I can get them to work, and they're pretty. Which leads me to the next one, which is the best for traveling, which is, I'm gonna go with Shattered for this one, because it comes with a lipstick and a liner, and it also has colors that I would use every day, with like a bonus of a color I wouldn't use every day, so I can like change it up even if I had this all week. My biggest regret, now don't get me wrong, I love the colors in here and I use them every once in a while. The Sigma Creme de Couture, as much as I love these colors, packaging, the fact that it looks like a treat box, I mean, I can get a little bit of color. The thing is, I've never had to work so hard to get the color to stay. Well, if you can get it to stay, they're wonderful colors, and they're so pastel, and they're hard to find colors, and they're pretty, but I just, you know, a few hours later, the color's gone, and it doesn't matter if I use a base or not, it's really hard to get that color to stay, and I need that color like all day long. When I put my makeup on in the morning, I need it there 8 hours later because I'm still working. So that was probably my biggest regret, but I'm glad that I bought it. But I probably don't use it as much as I'd like, just because I'm not guaranteed that color in 5 hours or so, or even 2 hours. The best color names, I have to go back to Sugarpill. I love Butter Cupcake, Flame Point, Love Plus, Poison Plum, Velocity, After Party, Dolly Pop. I just love the names. And the pigments too, not just palettes, like Paper Doll and Goldilocks and stuff. Just all the colors are really, really, I love the names. She had fun doing the names. She had to have. It's great. I love it. My least used palette was probably the Sephora Moonshadow Baked palette. When I first got it, I bought the Naked 2 palette at the same time, so I think I was a little bit more excited about the Naked 2 palette. The colors aren't bad, they're really pretty. It's just, I don't wear a lot of glittery or shimmery stuff. I'm usually more of a matte, and this is all glitter and all shimmer. For a while there I used it with the Naked 2 palette, but then after a while I just stopped using it, and it just sits here collecting dust. Enchanted Kiss, I use every day. Probably because of this color here, which is a perfect match for my skin, so I use it underneath my eyebrow all the time. It's my go-to matte highlight, and if I'm just in a rush, I'll use the other colors, which are basic natural colors for me. They're a little bit more warm tone, and I'm usually steered towards the cool tones, but it's such a pretty payoff together, just those three colors. And every once in a while I'll throw in that rose color, but that natural skin tone color I use all the time, and it's perfect for blending out too. It works every time. The bend and snap, it works every time. My most loved is probably the Lime Crime Palette d'Antoinette. I hope I said that right. I don't use it as often as I'd like, but the colors I'm not going to find anywhere else. These colors are just so buildable, and I like the color payoff. It's probably one of my favorite palettes, and I'm glad I bought it. And I don't really wear a whole lot of light colors, but when I do, this is quite the palette to have. Plus, when I got it in the mail, it was kind of like receiving a magic wand or something. It was just so pretty, and I was all excited, and it was all purple, and I've got a thing with purple. Okay, Desert Island would probably have to be the Great and Powerful Oz Theodora Palette by Urban Decay. This is probably my other most used palette because I can pick between warm and cool tones, and it has a black too. So if I was on a desert island, I got an eyeliner color, and then I've got your basic natural colors. If I'm on a desert island, I'm probably not really going to care what I look like, but every day I care what I look like, so I'm probably lying. So that's my perfect palette tag. I hope you found this video helpful, enjoyable, not super annoying. If you like what I'm wearing, double check Instagram. I usually post the products in my Instagram because I can tag everybody. I hope you can hear me. I sound like crap.